You played your strengths, or do you focus on your weaknesses? Which strategy is better in life? Gentlemen, let's start this thing. It turns out we have the first cancellation on our podcast, so we want to take this opportunity to then talk about the podcast and talk about the people that are involved in this podcast, right? It's not just me. There's people like Brian there and Misa that are involved in the behind the scenes, and it's evolving, right? This is how many episodes have we done, Brian?
I think we are up to 20, I think like 24 or something like that we've recorded. Um,
No, wait,
But
really?
really only released 14,
something
I
like
believe.
that. I think we're in the 20s. Yeah.
Oh,
Shot,
wow.
yes.
So we have a few of them that are shot and they're coming, but
Yeah.
and it's changing, right? Every episode's a little bit different. We're figuring how to do this. We're figuring how to do this other stuff. It's quite a technical feat. I remember I'm like, how hard can it be to just shoot some little podcast, right? You just put a camera and a microphone, two people talking. What's the big deal? But it turns out there's quite a bit more that is involved once you start adding different feeds and those other stuff, right?
I think it could
Joe
be
Rogan can do it.
if that chimp could do it.
A chimp.
Oh wait, can I say that, or is he only allowed to call himself chimp?
Oh, I don't know. What is the rules?
I don't know. I don't know the etiquette, but it's
I
okay.
think if you're a biologist, I think you're allowed.
I am not. So
Yes.
yeah, you know what? It could be simple. It could be a simple thing, and I think when you started, you were keeping it simple because I think you have this approach, which I think is a good thing, right? Where it's like you don't get bogged down by all the tech, by all the nonsense that could potentially make it so that you never start, and then you just start, and you just like keep it simple, keep it basic, make it functional. Just do the bare minimum so that you can actually get it done.
Yeah.
And I think so that's how it started, right? The first few episodes were kind of just minimally.
It was literally just me and my laptop. That's how I was doing them.
Yeah. Which I mean, I think it works. Like I think you still had the conversations. They were pleasant conversations. You still got the meat of what the podcasts do, right? And it's like you weren't really lacking anything, but adding a little bit more of effort adds a little bit of something. But the content's still the content. Like I think the content is the most important thing, and you're doing it.
And that's the thing that I needed to. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a good speaker, right? I'm not fluent. I get stuck with simple sentences, So to have a fluent conversation with someone about topics and keeping it interesting, I don't know if I have what it takes, right? So I'm like, let's just start. How do you find out? You just do it.
But you do have a good advantage, though, is you're curious, and that makes you ask questions.
Yes.
That makes you making you a better listener, which makes the conversations more interesting.
Yeah, but it is truly an art form to have conversations where here's the thing that I've noticed in myself. I noticed that when I get going with the subject or something, I tend to be hyper focused on that. And so I usually don't let like other external things like get in the way, right? So I'm a bit intense when it comes to it. And I notice this when I get talking to people. I'm like, hey, and then like, oh, there's an interaction or an distraction or a thing, interruption or stuff. And I'm like 2 seconds into it's like, no. And then, I go back to the thing. So I kind of corner people into staying engaged in this one conversation. And I'm like, I don't know what that looks like from the other side. I know what it looks like from my side. I'm like, we're having a conversation. It's an interesting conversation. And, I'm not going to let this external thing stop it, right? So
it's entertaining. That's all you need to know.
No, you know what? I've thought about that too, because I do a lot of like introspective, like thinking. I just think about like what I'm doing and why I'm doing it and my patterns and why I think these things, why I say these. Like I'm a, like that. It's not necessarily a good thing, but it's in some ways is good, but in most ways it's not. So I do a lot of that, and I've noticed that too. But to be honest, I feel like no one else notices it. Like no one else on the receiving end of that notices that you're doing that thing. You're noticing it because, well, you repetitively do it over and over and over and over again, right? So you're aware of it because you have a whole like track record of doing that, and like you've caught it probably multiple times and you've noticed it, and it's so much so that it's become apparent to you that that's a pattern that you do.
It's like you know what to focus on as well.
Well, you've become aware of it, and now that you're aware of it, it's almost like when you first started seeing Teslas. As soon as you see it, and you're like, oh, that's what it is, and then you start to see it more and more and more and more, and then like or new cars, right? Like whatever they are, like as soon as you notice them, you cannot see them anymore. It's almost like they are highlighted,
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of your focus going to that, but from the other side, people are not. Like the thing about that is that. From the other side, right? Like I don't notice the things that you're doing necessarily because I'm noticing the things that I'm doing. You know what I mean? And everyone is doing that. Everyone seems to be aware of their own patterns little by little. And that's what they're thinking when they're talking to you. They're not necessarily thinking about what your patterns are, especially when it's like first time that they're talking to you. I might be like, oh, I noticed you do this because I've known you my whole life. We haven't even talked about this, but I'm your brother.
Yeah, for those watching this, don't know who Misa is, that's my brother. We kind of grew up together. We're only a year apart, so we growing up, we were spending quite a bit time together, more so than any other siblings.
Yeah, so we spend a lot of time together, and I might notice some patterns from you. And to be honest, the only reason I even notice any of them is probably because I've started paying attention to my patterns and I've been like observing them. And the more that I understand about myself, the more I understand about others, especially like you are someone I'm so close with because just by proximity, really, not because we've, gone in depth about conversations or anything, but only because we've been around. We've worked together, we've all of our ventures back in the day were always together, right? Our first band, literally every single thing we did, we did together, Yes. So I think, more than anything, it's not, from the other side is not even a thing. Like people don't notice those things.
Yeah. So I don't know what these conversations look like from the outside. I know what they look like from my perspective, right? And I don't know. I can't put a finger if I'm doing okay, if I'm doing good, if I'm progressing. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like I know that some of them, they feel good. I walk away from here going like, oh, that was a good guess. Because I was interested. I was, whatever. I have my emotional, feelings that I have on the conversation that we had, right? But I'm like, what does that look like from the outside? I don't know. It's like.
Well, one of the cool things about doing a podcast is that you kind of get to see that. You kind of get to see what it looks like. Because later when we do release it and you get to see the edited version,
view it again,
yeah, then you get a little bit the outsider's perspective,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's one of the cool things about this. I don't know, like obviously, like we listen to Joe Rogan. Like I became a fan a long time ago.
Long time before me. Yeah, you used to tell me about it, and then
this guy he does podcasts on the internet. I'll show you later.
Okay.
He's a meathead in the internet.
Yeah. And one of the things that I liked was exactly that he used to listen to, like he listens to them and learns from them, and like it's almost like he's studying, and then tries different things, consciously tries to like improve in his conversational skills, which is a thing that me and you, I feel we didn't grow up with very much. Like our parents are so, I don't know, they're so sheltered in a certain way.
Yeah.
And they just didn't really even within the community that they have, they don't seem to venture out very much.
It's very structured. like their whole, because I mean, I was thinking about this, like we're not socially, we were not very experienced, right? But that's not true. We are. Every week we would go to church and then go to this group of people and everybody shares same ideas and stuff. And so you're socializing. There's kind of like a social club, right? You go, but it's like you would go, back in the day it was 3 times a week. And it was like 2 of those times were 2 hours, right? And there's these groups, I don't know, at least like 100, maybe like 50 families, so like at least 100, up to 150 members. So that's a lot of socializing, right? But it's very like structured, right? They all share the same ideas. They all are like share these same goals. They're same thing. So there's not a lot of room for like, and I think that's why it seems to me, at least it seems like it wasn't, like we didn't really socialize and we really didn't get those skills that I think other people come across all kinds of ideas and different perspectives. And I feel like we didn't, right? Even though there are all kinds of people in there.
That's one of the benefits of having like a one-on-one conversation, because then you can go into depth about like this other, and that's I think what's really good about the podcast is it's essentially allowing you to exercise that muscle, the socializing muscle that may have atrophied with all due respect. But it's getting better though. You're getting better.
Is it? Does it seem? Because like I say, I don't know. I can't tell. I don't know if I'm getting better or if I'm getting worse. I know. I look. Here's the thing: that I could literally look at a video that I made a year ago, and I'm blown away. I'm like, oh my god, I can do this. Like, why can't I? I
forgot to tell you that I delete the emails when the guests say we're not coming back. No. They enjoy it.
This is a different thing, right? Like I can sit down, think about a thing, and then write it down, and then boil it down or whatever, like into a narrative.
He's not talking about the podcast. He's talking about like
the other videos,
formatted narrative videos,
right? But I haven't been doing those for such long, so now I'm even doubting myself. Can I even do that? Am I even good at doing this stuff? And I go and look at older ones, and I'm like, oh, yes, I could do this. It's just I'm not focusing that right now. Right now, I'm focusing this other stuff. I'm focusing this. It's like a different thing, right? And this thing here, I don't know where it's headed. I guess I do. I mean, it's just got to be interesting. Like the conversations that I enjoy listening to. Those are the conversations that I need to be having, right? It's as simple as that. But
I think it's heading there. Like, I don't think you need to worry too much about like trying to figure out the format or trying to, force it to be anything specific. Yeah. Like the more that you do it, the more it's going to like naturally flow into that place that you ultimately are going to go to, like whatever that is. But if you like try to make it that there's like this weird thing that happens that it seems like, I don't know, I've always noticed this and I don't know how to explain it, but it's like the more that you want a thing, the more that it seems to want to get away from you somehow.
No, and especially it runs away. If you don't know what you're trying to make it into.
Yeah, especially if you haven't
a thing that you don't know what it is.
Especially if you haven't solidified it, like if you haven't taught it through completely. And it's like, I don't know that you even want to. I mean, in some ways, I feel like it's a good idea to plan out and think things through, as but then in the end, you end up just fumbling through it and like making your decisions that lead you there.
That's a good point, because sometimes like having worked with like different kinds of brands, there's some brands that have to really solidify like how they're going to do things, who they are, what their message is. And if they don't do that, it feels really inauthentic and it feels strange. It feels really forced. But then there's those who don't necessarily need to go that route 100%, which sounds kind of sacrilegious from the like the strategic standpoint. But there's certain things that need to flow and then kind of fall into their place, because it's almost like a self-discovery in a way. Mm-hmm. It's a journey.
Yeah. You and I have tried to brand me, and I don't think it's easy, right? Like I'm doing so many things, that I don't think you can.
it's so funny because it's like it's
Can't
so
cage
interesting because
me.
yeah, well that's exactly the point is that there is like a structure and a strategy to it.
Yeah.
Like there's a very clean logical progression, right, from one thing to the other, but that's the beauty of being in that small edge of the population that is a little bit chaotic, where you don't really fit into that kind of mold, right? And we've all been like artists in our own way, and there is a certain amount of beauty to that, into not fitting into that mold. So it's super interesting because it's almost contradictory, because I know how to perform that strategy in order to get brands like super clarified and super like crystallized into who they are and what they do and what they should say.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I love the fact that there's a certain number of the population, right? Maybe a small number of the population who don't fit into those kinds of molds. They just have to kind of be.
Yeah. Yeah, because what was one of them? Was an apologetic. Remember you came up with that?
Something like that. We were talking about like what defines who you are and what you do.
Yeah, and then now I'm like not even controversial anymore. So you're like, oh, you're just apologizing or anything, so you don't fit there. Nah. No, I think that came to my philosophy of not asking permission, right? If anything, you ask for forgiveness, right? Like, but you just try it, you just do it. Oh, you want to start a podcast? You don't know how to do the stupid thing? Just do it. Just start it. You know how to operate your computer with one single camera? Just do it. Do the thing. Like, don't ask permission. Don't ask people, how to do it. Just do it and then figure it out.
You learn along the way. Like that's pretty much, I think, the way we've done everything that we've done. I don't know that I don't think we ever got the tools that some people get, that they like, teach their kids to plan ahead for every, every contingency that might come up as they head on to do a thing, because it's a part of the plan of what their life is supposed to be. Like, I don't know. I know that there's people that do that, and I think it might be a good tool to have, but it's just not one that we got,
And I agree. I think at times, it's kind of dependent on context, right? Mm-hmm. Like when like structures structures can be incredibly useful for maintaining consistency and keeping things going, right? The problem with structures is that they can end up drowning out anything that's new and novel and innovative, right? Because it no longer makes a place for it. But at the same time, the novel and the innovative is what's required for the structure to be able to adapt to a new situation. And tying it back to the podcast, a lot of the guests are people who are like entrepreneurs. They're breaking records. They're like doing these interesting, innovative things with technology and with science, and even just businesses that they're starting. They're breaking molds, and they're breaking through what people think they should be doing. And it just goes to show that there's a place for structure, but there's also a place for being creative and innovative and an outlier.
Yeah. Who are we having coming up in the next coming episodes?
Ooh, let's see.
Let's look at that. I mean, we've had people, they just said people that are breaking records in the electric car world. I'm kind of staying still kind of inside of my circles, right? I think the goal was to kind of get out of those, right, and just reach to new people. You said you just got some scientists or something, but it's kind of still kind of related. But now I'm having podcasts with people that I don't know, right? And we're trying for the first time and stuff. And that's cool. I've been happily surprised at times where I'm like, I don't know this person. I don't know if I'm gonna get along. I don't know if they'll have anything interesting to say. And then bam, I'm like, what? This is pretty amazing. So this is pretty cool.
Yeah, some of the next ones that we have coming up are we have EV Box, right, coming up.
EV Box.
And that's a company that does charging solutions for electric vehicles. And
like a EVSEs? Like the
Which one?
actual box that you put in the wall that
Yeah.
then you can charge? Oh.
yeah.
Oh,
And
that's
then
cool.
we have some guy, what's his name? Michael Bream, you might have heard of him.
Oh
EV
yeah,
West.
we're having him back because he now broke the land speed record in an electric vehicle, converted vehicle with a Model S motor and stuff, which is the groundbreaking thing that's happening on DIY electric vehicles right now.
Yeah, and then we have our first actor coming on
Oh,
the podcast.
yes. Yes,
Nice.
Robert Llewellyn.
Yeah,
Robert
Robert Llewellyn.
He's very well known in the UK, but most of us here in America don't know who he is. But we know him if you're into the electric car stuff because he has a YouTube channel that's very successful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got some interesting people. We got some scientists coming in. We got another race car driver coming up.
Oh, that's
And,
right, Mexican NASCAR race car driver, right?
Yep. Mhm.
We've settled on a date with him, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
That's-
so is the
it's
thing the
on.
higher profile people that start coming in here, then the more shaky it is that they're actually that is going to happen because schedules. These people are, they're
Yeah, I mean, I've been trying to schedule going back and forth with Elon Musk, and man, it's been a headache. But we're almost ready.
yes,
Oh, I didn't tell you guys. Okay, yeah.
yes. So
not-
we're
not yet.
who do we want to have on the podcast coming up? What's the goals here? What are
Well,
the
what
goals?
is your goal? What would be the ultimate thing? Because I think we should put it out there, and I think
I mean, yeah.
it should, because it'll be cool to go back to like, hey, remember that one time, and now we're here.
Oh, and now we're there. I mean, yeah. Obviously, the top of the list would be Elon Musk, right? Although,
right, see, there
to
we
tell
go.
you the truth, okay, but now let's be honest. Would I be intimidated? Yes. Would I know what to say? Would I trip over my words if he was having a conversation with me? Yes, probably.
Probably.
Would I prepare though? Yes. So maybe not.
Wow.
Oh, that's a.
I might actually.
I'm
prepare.
having the same reaction.
That's so
he's a changed man.
fair.
Are you
Alright.
saying I don't prepare for these ones? I actually.
So it took
Some of
Elon
them.
Musk
Sometimes I do.
to take him from chaos to structure. Look,
Oh, yeah. Sometimes I say
Interesting.
it, right? Sometimes. At times. It's yeah, I don't know. To tell you the truth, I have no idea. I know I've been in front of him and I was intimidated, but it was mostly because of the chaotic environment that was around him, right? He's got bodyguards, and then every single person, there's, I don't know, 50 people around me who are trying to get his attention. Like, he is the center of attention in that event, right? And so,
Yeah.
a one-on-one, then all that stuff would go away, right?
mm-hmm. I think
And
that's
that would be a
100%
different
true.
thing.
Yeah, the environment, the chaotic environment makes it intimidating. I think him as a man
Yes.
it'd be a human conversation essentially.
Well, and that's the thing. I don't even know what I would want to talk to him about, right? Would it be like Joe Rogan had a very generalized, like a human experience conversation with him, right? It's like, hey, how do you do this? How do you do this? What do you think about this? Whatever.
But he already had that conversation.
Yeah.
So you're
Well,
like, I can't
no.
ask him about his schedule because, well, I already heard a 3-hour conversation about how he gets stuff done.
No, I feel like there was things that I would have asked, and I would have asked different, and I would have probably like pursued things, right? There's
Oh,
things that
absolutely,
he was
yeah.
not interesting, but then also I could try to ask him like technical questions.
Well, that's
But-
I think where it would be interesting because he would
But I
want
don't
to
know
go
if
into
I
the
could-
engineering and stuff.
I don't think I could hang in the technical. I'm too dumb.
Well, but I think Joe Rogan could have said the same thing, right?
Well, no,
He always says
definitely.
the same thing.
Rogan was too dumb to ask technical questions. I mean, he did, right? And I feel like Elon kind of dumbed it down. Like he always has to do. He always has to dumb things down because I think Elon is operating at a higher level, right? Like he's doing. But I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. See, these are all unknowns. Like I don't know if I would. What would I ask him? I mean, I don't know anything about rockets. I know very simple things, right? Like that guy.
But you think
Tim,
he would want to talk about like all this tech things that he works?
He
like,
would. He
that
lives, breathes those things. Like
I
he
would
is an
see, like,
engineer.
in my opinion, if I got a chance to talk, it would be more structure stuff. Like it wouldn't be technical like details. It would be like the whole like Neuralink and where it's headed and what it's gonna do for humanity. What is it a good idea to go that direction? Obviously, he thinks it's a good idea. So, but like more about how it affects humanity as a whole, not so much about like how a technical thing is going to happen. You know what I mean?
See, there's a difference between you and me. I feel
Yeah.
like Rogan asked him those questions. What does it mean? What does it mean to have electric cars? What does it mean?
That's the
to
kind
have
of conversation
space
I like
rockets
to
and
have.
go and I'm like, how do you get these batteries to go in there? What are you gonna do? What's the next technology? Is it out there already?
Like you would
Does
want to
it-
have a conversation with him at the shop, where
Yeah.
he's like, you're literally looking at gear. You're literally like talking over gear and like showing
preferably
you things.
at his shop.
Of course, obviously.
Because his shop is much more impressive than mine.
That's
right?
super
Yeah.
interesting because it's like I would ask more like psychological questions about ideas, right?
Yeah.
Questions about inspiration, questions about what types of things does he like to surround himself with to spark that flame, or keep it from going out, different angles that we all would approach.
Yeah, so see, that's I think it's like it would be a completely different conversation in a completely different setting, and like a podcast setting like this lends itself for like similar, like the same thing that Brian's talking about, that I'm talking about. It's like, we sit down, we have a conversation.
Yeah.
Ideally, like you smoke a little bit, and then you can really get delve into. But like I think your conversation might be more, like. Yeah, or like in a car and looking at the actual components of a car, or
I mean,
what I mean, like with gear. I think I think that's what you're thinking more so.
Probably, yeah. I mean, I would want to ask him all kinds of different questions, right? But I think I would always center on those because that's genuinely where my interests lie, right?
Yeah,
Um,
it's interesting. So maybe we need to reformat your podcast in a way where like when we do have people come in, maybe it's over a table with gear, and maybe try those conversations that way instead of it being like just to sit down.
no, but I mean,
without
you don't
any-
need to be in front of the thing. You could talk about a thing. You can talk about technical stuff about a battery or a car or a rocket or the Neuralink. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to be
Yeah,
there.
but isn't it better to like look at it?
I mean, it would be.
Take it
if we-
apart.
if we were
take things
talking-
apart together. Because that's what
Yes.
you did, growing up. You're like always taking stuff apart, because that's
Yes.
that's the way your brain, I think, absorbs information.
Yeah. No, definitely. If we were talking about the concept of taking humans to space, if we were sitting in the Dragon space capsule, it would be awesome.
Well, maybe that's what we need to do. Maybe we need to start going on location.
Yes.
Right?
We're like there
Recording
sitting
that.
like this, looking at the screens. It's like, okay, so this is Elon. This is what's gonna happen.
So this is
or
where the
maybe
fire's gonna come out.
inside that rocket, that giant starship that he's building. What's it called? Whatever. He keeps changing the name, but he's basically building this giant rocket that is gonna eventually make it to Mars, and they're testing it now. So there's big ones now where you can like literally stand next to them and look at them. That would be pretty interesting to see that.
For you. I'm just
Exactly.
kidding. For a lot of
Exactly.
people, I'm sure, of course. Yes, that would be amazing. I don't know. That's the thing. See, I think you're gathering an audience of people that think like you, that like.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think we should explore some of these concepts, because I think, well, obviously you would have fun doing that format, and I think your audience would also enjoy that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, that's I think we should attempt something like that.
Yeah.
Of course,
Who else?
as soon as we can do that safely.
Who else can we have in here? Who do we want to have? Look, I mean, there's a lot of interesting people, right? And I'm finding out it's not just the people who I think is interesting. I think there are a lot of interesting people who I don't know that they're interesting, and then the only way you find out is by having a conversation with them, right?
Yeah. Okay. Is there anyone that you've had so far that you were like, oh wow, this was interesting. I didn't know what to expect. Or I didn't know who they were.
We have several, right? That I didn't know. I was like, what am I going to talk to them about, you know? And then eventually you have a conversation, and you're like, oh, you have a lot of things in common. You can ask them things. You can, ask.
So what is there an example? Or you don't want to get into details?
Well, can I mention one that I've heard you say that you were like, oh, I don't know if it was going to work out?
Which one?
April Baldock.
Yeah.
The president of the Electric Auto Association. You're kind of nervous.
I was just on like, associations are usually not a thing that I'm interested in. Any associations. Associations is kind of like it's a
structure, is what you're saying.
It's a structure. It's a team of people. It's a group. It's a club.
Yeah.
Right? It's a club. And I've never been into clubs. Growing up in one that I want to get out of. I'm not so, trying to go into other ones. I mean, but no, look, we have these cars, and my brothers over there, they're in the clubs and stuff, and I'm like,
I was in the club.
You were in the club?
Yeah, in the car club.
You were not even that good of a club member.
I never
go to the meetings.
Yeah, I would skip too many. I don't know why they were so lenient with me about, because they were very strict with other people. And like, for some reason, maybe because Gabriel's hookup, I don't know why. They're just like, they're kind of easygoing. So I think they were not too strict.
Wait, so are you saying you're not a member anymore?
No, of course not. I mean, I haven't been for years now.
Wait, but what is there a procedure where they
Well, we still have the badge. The egg bus still has this stamp of approval.
Like if you get a bus today, you can start attending meetings again, and they would be like, "Hey, you're no longer a member. You're gonna have to initiation again." There's none of that.
I think they would be cool. Like they would be fine with it. They might have to have a conversation without me there.
You think
they would probably do that? Oh yeah, of course. They're strict with everyone, man. Except for whatever reason, they were very lenient with us.
I didn't know that.
We walked in, dude. Like you walked in there, like
I used to go to the meetings, and I'm like, okay, I'm not a member.
So I'm sure they heard about it from other members that
were like
that wanted to, and they're like, yeah, come back, guy just gets to show up, and like he's not even a
member, and I'm not even.
I
don't even qualify to be in the members because they do have. They only have one main.
You're far, far, far from stock, man.
Yeah, so they had one rule in which, I don't know, as far as I know, one rule is you got to be stock. And after that, there was not a lot of rules. But I'm not stock. I'm far from being stock. And, and I used to take my bus over there, and I used to go and hang out with them, be in the meeting.
I think they're cool with that, but there's definitely, they're like, they try to be on everyone about attending and.
I see.
If you're not a regular, then you're not committed. If you don't go to the things with them, the caravans, and which makes sense.
Yeah, you got to be an active member.
Yeah.
The group. So, anyways, I'm not into groups too much, even though we used to go and spend, I guess, time with them and stuff, right? So I'm like association. I don't want to. What am I going to talk to this lady about? Like, I don't know anything. Yes, they do electric cars, but who cares? I'm like, it sounds like that I'm not that interested. And then it turns out, no, I had a great conversation with her because that group just happened to be a DIY like builders group in the old days, and now it's morphing into Tesla, just another Tesla. No, not another Tesla, but electric car.
Electric car, and promotion of getting people educated about it or whatever. But it's like all DIYers at the beginning.
All DIYs to begin. So it has, at the very least, it had beginnings of my people, of people who I would have probably been joined that group, if I joined a group.
You were born too late, is what.
I was born. Well, these guys were like doing it before my time, kind of thing.
If you were into groups, you would
If I was
probably
into
join.
group,
But
I
you're
would
not
join
into
that
groups.
I'm not
Probably
into
not going to
groups.
join. The thing that I found interesting about that one was that it's been around for a really long time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
70s,
started-
right?
Yeah. They've been
Yeah.
converting electric cars for a long time. And
So
we
what's
talk-
this? What was that group? I mean, what was it for? I don't understand. Like, what did they do? What do they do?
It was support. It was like, it was moral support for people who were building electric cars.
Oh,
You were
okay.
you were an odd person. You were an odd duck at that time. You were like, what? You're doing this thing? So you needed, to socialize
Oh, I
with
see,
others
I see.
that right? And then that morphed into other things as now it becomes association. It's got a lot of chapters and stuff. And
Yeah,
this
here's
is the podcast, man.
Here's the official about us. It's North America's leading volunteer organization that accelerates the adoption of electric vehicles by supporting its 100 chapters and thousands of members as they talk neighbor to neighbor about the benefits of driving electric.
There you go. See?
So
I see. So they're trying to spread the word about
Yeah.
more people. They're trying to convert others to get
To
to
get
turn
electric.
electric. It's,
yeah,
Yes. They're electric car fanatics. But at the time, right, in the 70s, 80s, 90s, there's no OEM electric cars. So then you
right. So it was DIYs.
it was DIY people. And now it's morphing. Now, there's a lot of Tesla owners there. And then I think now it's going to get out of the Tesla and then more GM cars and
mass market type of thing.
Yeah, the Rivians is the next one, and the GMs, the Hummer people are gonna come in there, and all those. So it's changing. It's
Yeah.
morphing. But I wouldn't have had that conversation, right? Had I not been open to it. Been like, I don't know, I don't care about those.
Like you may not have seeked that out yourself specifically,
Yes.
but
Yes. You made
what about
me do it.
yeah, I made you. I held you down, and I'm a little
Yeah.
bit bigger than you, so that's that helps. we
Yeah.
did lose an episode too. You guys, if you want to talk about that.
You just won't let that one go. You want to talk
Well,
about it every time.
so many things have
Jehu
happened.
personally tells every single guest about you guys losing an episode. I don't know
Yes.
why. Every single time.
Yes.
All right, let's
And
have
we
that
almost-
conversation.
And we almost lost it again.
No, because I was here.
We almost lost it again.
You're right. It was weird. It was an awkward one. It was a weird one.
Yeah.
And not the conversation, but the
Yeah.
after
It
the
was-
technical side, it was kind of
I don't know.
like we'd never had
why-
problems with any of them.
No. Yeah. And that
Only
one-
with this mystery guest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who is this mystery guest, Jay? Who do you dare say?
Well, we might be pulled down if we say it. It was Alex Jones. It was Alex Jones.
It's very
okay.
controversial.
Very controversial. No, it was the Alex Jones of the electric world car.
Wow, is he the Alex Jones of electric cars?
No.
Has he been banned?
He
He's the
has
Alex
been
Jones
banned.
of Tesla.
He has been banned from Tesla. Yes.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
I think he might be qualifying as the
And
Alex
the,
Jones.
and the Tesloids have taken down multiple of his videos by mass reporting them
Did you
as
call him
inappropriate.
Tesloids?
Tesloids. Yeah, the Tesloids.
What the? I've never heard that.
What?
Is that a term?
Well, I don't know.
that
That's what
they
I
use?
call them.
Oh, that's what you started calling them?
Yeah.
So the fans of Tesla.
Yes.
Or
what
the
is-
followers
and
of Tesla.
He calls them different. He has like 2 other names that he wants to call them.
Who? Elon?
No,
Rich. He calls.
Oh,
them,
did you just reveal?
yeah. When is that episode gonna air? Is that the next one?
That one is it might be too controversial, so I'm just kidding.
No.
It's coming
yeah,
up,
it's
I
coming
think,
up,
in the next
yeah.
2. Or next 2 or 3?
Yeah, it's coming up. I think in the next 2.
Okay.
Yeah, let's see. Next we have. Ooh, who do we have next here? We have. Oh, we still have. Oh, we have quite a bit coming up. We have Joseph Barletta coming up. Right?
Ah,
Smart
yes,
Charge America.
right.
Am I
Smart
allowed
Charge
to
America.
say it before it comes out? It's the
Yeah.
next one.
Yeah. Stay tuned.
Ben
if you're
Sullins.
interested.
Ben
Ben
Sullins.
Sullins. My friend Ben Sullins.
Yeah, and then we have.
That was after Rich, no?
No. Rich was Well, after the
that's
first
right.
one that we lost,
Oh yeah.
all right, and then it's
By the
then
way, I'd like to go on the record and say I was not around for that. Okay,
this
that
was
was before I
pre
came
Misa.
and was around for.
when we were DIYing the production. Hey, that's why you
Yeah.
just do it, right?
Yeah,
just
you
get it
do
going.
Let's do it.
Yeah,
just
it's
get
all
it
right. You
going.
might lose a few episodes. It's fine.
Yeah, but look, we
I-
don't need all those computers behind you. You literally have like 5 different computers in your thing over there to get your thing done.
I need to be
no.
recording multiple times. I need
No
multiple
joke.
computers.
It's because while we're recording, one's for YouTube, the other one's for Hulu, the other one's for Netflix, and the other one is for,
No
just
joke. When
doodles.
I open up the door there to check if you're in there, like, oh, is Misa in today? Let me see. Like that room is hot compared to the rest of the office here.
It's a little warmer, I would say. Yeah.
It's because he's got all these computers. They're on just generating heats. They're heating up that room.
It's true. It is a little hot in here.
So much computing power he needs to be able
Oh,
to
I
do
thought
his
you were
work.
sweating because of the pressure of the questions that Jehu's asking you.
I mean, a little bit. Half and half.
It's an interrogation.
Yeah, so we have a control room, then they have the main room, and then Brian's over there in the closet
Next to the microwave over here.
next to the microwave. Yeah, eventually we want to get people in here, right? We want to be able to have a conversation one by one. Is that
So-
a thing?
Face.
We've
Do we
had a
need
few.
that?
We've had
Yeah,
a
we
few,
could do that.
right? We've only had 2 so far. I was the first one. I was the guinea pig at the first one.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who else?
And then we had
And then we had Louis C.K.
Yeah.
No,
Fun
Louis,
for, fun,
Louis-
fun for Louis.
Yeah, Louis Cole. He's a
Louis.
Oh
YouTuber.
yeah, I
Yeah,
guess
yeah.
I didn't see that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I missed that one. I
Oh, I
wasn't
was-
around for that.
That's when I was cutting live, huh?
That's right. He was changing A and B, switching.
Whoa, nice live
Yeah.
switching.
Live
Wait,
switching.
you
It's-
were doing it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was doing it for when you were a guest,
Yeah.
and then you were doing it when he.
So
was
you were
a guest.
talking to him and switching?
No, he wasn't. He wasn't talking. Oh yeah, I was talking to him and I was switching. Yeah.
Yeah.
Back and forth.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was the first episode that we were like. Oh, that was the first episode actually.
And that was the only live stream, wasn't it?
That was the only live stream. I don't
Oh.
know why I'm not doing him live stream. Why are we doing a live stream?
Bisa,
I
why are we
think
doing
we-
on live stream?
I mean, I think we needed to start somewhere.
Uh-huh.
And live wasn't where we're gonna start.
I think it detracts. I think it detracts from the conversation, to tell you the truth.
To be
Right.
live?
Yes, because I'm always like, oh, what are people saying? Let's go back to the people, right? Like.
Oh, but you don't have to.
I have a
I think it
guest here.
depends on the conversation.
I have a guest, right? And we're having a
Yeah.
conversation. But there's like 1,000 people out there, and they're all like pitching in their ideas and stuff. Like I'm ignoring
Yeah, no.
1,000 people, and then I'm like, I'm just here,
If-
right? And it feels
If you're
like
if you're having guests, I don't think you can have it live, but you don't have to have the chat watching the chat. I don't think you can do that.
No,
you have to forget about people.
I'm saying that it is for me. It was detracting,
Well,
right?
the way
Because
I've seen others. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The first time that we did it, we did that. We would cut over. It's like, hey,
Yeah.
so what are people saying? Let's go check. And we're like, oh, they're asking this question and asking that question.
Yeah, I've seen people where they're just having the conversation and then they have someone who's moderating, kind of scanning the chat and kind of seeing which questions are relevant or which ones make sense for the
Yeah.
topic,
I
and then
guess-
they'll kind of jump in here and there with oh yeah, so and so said this, or they're clarifying
Yeah.
information or fact checking or whatever, or they'll
But that's a
compile them to
different-
the end.
Yeah, that's a different kind of a podcast. So
That's like a live stream. No, that's a live stream. That's
yeah,
like a different type
exactly.
of live stream. Yeah, that's one
Yeah.
where you specifically want you before you start the conversation, you want to hear what the audience is going to say, and then you kind of plan for it.
Yeah. So there's some value I think that can be gained from having a live audience. Because you can fact check, you can get ideas, right? If we're trying to remember a thing
Yeah, you
that
can
we
get called
can't
names.
remember. Yeah, we can. Yeah, all that stuff. we can exchange Bitcoin. They give me 1 Bitcoin. No, I give them 1 Bitcoin. They give me 2, and then that whole thing.
Super chat, all that.
Yes, you guys haven't seen those?
No.
I guess
Okay.
not.
No.
It's a major scam that's going around. And
Really?
Oh, is that one that they did with like the what they hacked all those celebrities,
No.
and they were like, if you donate here, we'll match it with like the
Yes.
same type of thing, just smaller.
If you send me 1 Bitcoin, we'll send you 2 Bitcoins, And then people are sending in their Bitcoin, and then they're just walking away with it. Gullible people, right? Anyways, yeah, it was a thing that was getting out of hand on YouTube, I guess. It's like every comment section was plagued by bots that were posting that thing. Yeah, and you get some of that on the live chat too. But that's do we want to have live people? Does that change the way that conversations go? Is anything lost?
When
by
you do it
going-
live?
No, is anything lost by going this Zoom?
Oh, through Zoom.
Yeah, just
a
remote
physical interaction. You do lose something, and
Yeah.
You do?
it's like I think you communicate more. You communicate different things. I mean, obviously, this is all just belief system, but I'm sure there's science to back it up. But I don't have it, so like I think that when you talk in person, there's definitely energy that is exchanged. It's an exchange of energy that's happening. And
Midichlorians.
you lose that. Midichlorians? Yeah, essentially. I mean,
If that helps you.
if that's one way of explaining it. So yeah, like I definitely think it loses something, but I don't think that it's like just because you don't have a complete connection with someone by not doing it in person in the same room, that this is completely irrelevant either. You know what I mean? Like, I think you can still have a conversation that's genuine, and
Yeah.
you can connect with others, maybe a little bit lesser than you would if you were in person. But yeah, no, I mean, I think these conversations work. They're I think they would be better if you were in person.
Yeah. I mean, it beats a phone conversation where you're having to imagine, what
kind
their
of face they're
facial
making.
expression, because that's one of the biggest parts is, where you're communicating with body language and through facial expressions, and you're getting 70% of your information, right? By the way, all of these statistics are authoritative.
Yeah, of course. I know. I always take that stance whenever you're talking.
All these numbers are.
The worst thing about the Zoom thing, I find myself only looking at me most of the time.
What?
Like, I don't understand. Like, I'm like, why am I looking at myself so much? Like, I'm almost like, I think I need to turn myself off. There is an option to do that. I just didn't think of it.
That's weird.
But I'm like, I need to center myself. And like, I don't know. Like, I keep doing that. You guys don't do that?
I mean, I do it, right? But
Not so
I
much.
don't. I see that as an asset instead of like like something.
I just find myself looking at myself way more than like. If we were in the same room, I wouldn't have the option to be looking at myself.
That's right,
So I
yeah.
would never do it, right?
Yeah.
But I do it more than I would, obviously, if I didn't have the option.
Or if you were in a room, you'd kind of grab them by the shoulders and slowly move them to the standing in front of a mirror, so you can see yourself.
Yeah.
No, I don't think I would do that.
Yeah, I don't see that as a problem for me, at least. I remember I asked you, I wanted to see myself because
Yeah.
I didn't know if something was happening, right? Like if
Yeah.
I'm like,
Someone's
what if,
creeping up behind you.
yeah, or if I have a booger coming out of my nose, I would want to know, right?
Yeah.
If the lighting changes, if you want to have a reference, to what
Especially with the
Yeah.
window behind you, someone can go back there with the,
That's right.
some kind
I'm
of a
exposed right here.
message.
By the
back
way,
there.
this time it's like the latest we've ever started because
Yeah.
it was already dark. I mean,
Yeah.
I know it's getting darker and darker earlier,
Yes.
But we started and it was already pretty much dark. I was like, oh, you'll be able to see your car behind you. And Brian, you'll be able to see your car behind.
No.
No.
we were trying to get your car back there. Yeah, the whole thing would. So you would have been the only one with your car in the background. This was Zoom background.
No.
Which would've
Oh,
been
if I would have
awkward.
put it on the screen?
Yeah, it would have been
He
awkward.
wanted to show off his screens. Yeah.
Well, I could have. It was either this or go the other way and just have a white wall. And I
Yeah.
really was like, anything is better than.
Yes.
Well, maybe not the rims.
I
Hey, what are you
Actually,
talking? Those
the
rims
shipping
are pretty
boxes.
cool.
All right, maybe not the. I guess it's our batteries and it's a bunch of little detail, so that would have been okay.
Yeah.
Or maybe not those cables,
Yeah.
because that just looks
Wow.
messy.
Yeah, that was another thing that I thought about. Like, what do we make our podcast look like, right? Like, this is just it was just an empty room when we came
Yeah.
in here 6 months ago, 8 months ago, whatever it was. And I'm like, well, let's put a table, let's do this thing. I don't know. And I thought this is a thing that you don't get to see often, like a window with like life happening outside, right? Like it could be distracting if you have people over there or something, but it could also just be like, oh, it's in the world somewhere. It's not just in some basement or something, you know?
It's not a green screen.
It's not a green screen. It's in just some suburb in the United States
Yeah.
somewhere. Nobody knows where. No, I think
So mysterious.
I thought that would add a little bit or something. So that's why
I
we
think
wanted
so.
to do the thing.
I think it's cool. I
Yeah.
think maybe we need an outside light.
No, I
Because
mean-
we'll be shooting at night, and now it's just darkness.
I see
You
what
can
you're
have
saying.
just like a light on the bottom
Yeah, I
of the
see what you're
bus
saying.
shining up.
Coming up all winter, man, we're
Yeah.
gonna be in the dark.
Oh, we might have.
If
That'd
we
be
had
really
like,
nice.
oh, you know what? If we had a street light on the bus, like I mean, not on the bus, but like on
top of it.
on the outside of the building that hits the bus, at least, then you're like, okay, you see the car out there.
Even when it's dark. That's what you're
Yeah,
saying.
that's a good idea.
Yeah.
So there
I vote
is
for
a
that.
light out there, but these windows are tinted. So I
Yeah,
think
it would have to
uses-
be a
And then this
really
lights
bright
become
light.
really bright.
right.
I guess we can turn this one down, and then
let's-
then. Yeah.
Turn it
I
down.
don't-
Turn it down. Let's see.
No, we'll test it.
No, okay.
You know,
different
it'll
time.
get dark. Yeah, I mean, we could try something.
It might blow the light out.
But
you know how
here's the
real life
thing.
demonstrations go.
You know what? We could maybe do seasons, right? So like when it's this time of the year, we turn you around and we make a set. We build a cool thing. You know, we put a screen behind you. I don't know, whatever. Like
Yeah.
we could do a
chimney with
different
sto-
thing. It doesn't have to
stockings
be.
hanging.
Yeah.
No, that's not what you
Stockings?
meant by seasons, right? The chimney
No,
and,
no,
the, and the
like-
pine, the tree.
No,
That's not what you're referring to. Okay, just
no. Well, yes, but no.
So when do we start shooting more episodes than one a week? When
I
does
think
that
as soon as our post is a little bit more streamlined, and we're able to edit. Because okay, if we shoot more than once a week, that means we release more than once a week as well, right?
Yeah.
And by post, he means post-production kids. Just
Yeah.
take notes.
He's
Yeah,
looking
so
only
I
at
think
his
as-
world, only his perspective.
I think isn't that everyone?
Yes.
I think as soon as that's a little bit more streamlined, and we
Uh-huh.
are able to turn them around quicker,
But
which
we're
I
getting
think,
close. Getting
Yeah, I
close.
think we're getting there.
Yeah.
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 It's just been crazy busy because
Yeah.
we're starting our season, so.
Yeah, so Misa works he's got a day job. He's got a 9 to 5, which is weird because none of us. Well, actually, you do too. I'm
do.
the only one.
too, Yeah.
I'm the only one
Yeah.
without a job here.
You're the weirdo
The
again.
hell?
You didn't introduce us, by the way. We started.
yeah,
This
how
is
rude
an
is
hour
that?
into it.
You know,
and
I'm
we
leaving.
don't-
That's it. I'm out of here.
I mean, I had to introduce myself. I say, I'm your brother.
Hey, Brian has his own episode. 3 hours.
I know.
And
Oh, I
you didn't
watch
introduce
it.
me either, huh? That's two now.
Brian,
Twice.
we gotta look into Brian's psyche for 3 hours. What
That was the
about?
longest one too, actually.
that might
That
have
was
been
the
too much.
longest one.
Yeah, it was 3 hours and something.
3 hours.
Wait,
Yeah.
that's the longest one?
I
Didn't
don't
we just
know.
do a 4-hour one?
No, wait,
No,
what?
I
3
think that
hours,
was.
I think we
I think it was like 2.5 plus. After it ended, there was like 30 minutes of
Oh, 2.5. You're right.
something like that.
Oh, I see.
But I think it might have if you add up the non
The bonus material.
published. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
That we
so-
don't, that we don't know if we can put up yet because we have to.
We
clear it.
we're looking into adding bonus material. Like we have conversations at the beginning, and then sometimes at the end, and it's just stuff that I don't know. For some reason, we're like, okay, this is off the record for some reason, and then.
Well,
But,
I think it's mainly that like you say goodbye and then
Yeah.
you think of something else and you keep talking for another 30 minutes. But then you're like, okay, fine. Like we got to be done now. Goodbye. You finally do like your final goodbye. But then
And then
you
we
know,
got to
you're
do
not done
technical
talking.
stuff. We're all like, oh yeah, and you got to send the audio file to this. We'll send you
Oh,
an email.
right.
And then we'll start another conversation. Like,
Yeah. Oddly enough, it seems like like your guests are into it. They're like, it's never been like they're trying to get off and be gone. Like
Or at
maybe
the
if
very-
they have something to do, but
yes, if it's tight schedules, or maybe they're too nice to say, hey, you know what, I got to get out of here. This is boring.
Which brings me
possible.
to the fact that I'm really glad that this has been our only cancellation so far. We've had like
Yeah, that's
20
pretty good.
some episodes, and this is like the first one or something like that. So
Yeah, that's
I
not,
thought
this-
you're-
it's not the only one, but yes, not too many.
Oh, it's not the only one, but it's the first one since Brian's been the one booking people. I think.
No.
Is that
no, I've been since the
No.
beginning.
Yeah, no. No, we had
Not-
another
you weren't-
cancellation.
Wait, Brian wasn't around when Jehu couldn't get people to come on the show.
Oh.
That's why you're on.
I see. Okay. I see.
No,
So-
no. Oh,
Touche,
no,
I
no.
see
I'm
what
not
you
talking
mean.
about that. Yeah, so the reason why Brian
Oh.
is helping here is because I couldn't get anyone to show up to have a conversation with me. I mean, like my friends. Hey, I'm sending emails and stuff, and no one's getting back to me. Like, no one's taking me serious for some reason.
In fact, didn't you you sent a message to Misa, and he was like, "Who this?"
Probably, yes. And so then I had to get Brian. I don't know.
I
It
was
was your
busy,
idea,
what?
I think, right? I don't remember. It was you bugged me. I didn't bug you, right? Like I think.
Oh my god.
I don't remember how it came up, but he was like, Brian, okay, you got to do this because I can't get anyone. And then he's like, okay, I'll handle this. You know who we gotta
Get
get?
it done. Let's do it.
We gotta get Simone. Simone,
Gets.
yeah, Jits.
I don't know how to
can't
pronounce it.
her.
But
Yes.
yeah, that would be a good one.
How about the guy Savage, Adam Savage in here? Can we get Adam Savage?
I
come in the
think we can.
podcast?
I think we can. Yeah. Let's
You
we'll try.
got to take advantage
out.
of the fact that we are remote, because getting people remote is so much easier.
Yes.
Like we
This
got to
is a
take
good
advantage of this now and get as many people as you can.
You
Maybe we
think-
could shoot more than once a week, but
You
maybe
think
not.
it'll
Maybe
change?
s-
You think it will, like, as this elections end and this nonsense ends and in December 31st, that's when this whole thing's going to end. The pandemic ends, the elections end, like all this nonsense. This year,
It's like
just-
Y2K. It's just gonna end. Like
Yes. You start clean.
1201. And then
Yes.
it's in a-
January
so?
1st, it's a new world. And
Why?
we're
Why
past-
January 1st? Just 2020. You're saying this?
No,
Yeah.
don't ask.
This
don't
whole
ask,
thing came with 2020.
Yes.
Don't
this
ask
year-
the rabbit hole. You're gonna go down the rabbit hole.
This year,
I always ask. So.
this year has been wiped down, off the records. It's like this is
It
down the
didn't
toilet.
happen. It didn't
This
happen.
whole year is down the toilet. And then we start fresh, and then after that we're good. So then,
Clean slate.
clean slate. So you think people are not gonna want to do these remote things, or this is a new thing now? This is a thing that everybody
think
knows how to
it's-
do.
Gonna be. A new
I
thing,
think
yeah.
it's gonna be, dude. Okay,
Yeah.
just so you know, like we signed the contract for the next season of a show that I'm working on.
Mm-hmm.
We're remote. We're all working remote. Like we're not going back to a studio.
You're not going back to the studio.
So like we're going to finish the season, and that rolls into 2021, half of the year. So like
okay.
we're not. I mean, we're going to continue doing this. We already got rid of our set, our big giant sound stage. there's no way they're gonna like in the middle of the season rebuild and pay for the crazy rent that it would take to shoot at a giant, studio lot like Warner Brothers. So like, I mean, it's gonna happen next year. To be honest, I don't see our show ever going back to that kind of format.
Isn't there something gained from having the people, the audience?
Oh yeah. Of course, the energy from it was like over 300 people in the audience. That's a huge difference in the way
You're saying they're not
going
to do that again. They're just like, no, that's it.
I do not believe that this production is ever going to.
This became a podcast essentially.
Yes.
4-way podcast.
I think so.
Highly produced, by the way, because
here's the thing. We are a production that elaborate or whatever. They are having an easier time getting guests as well.
What?
So this is all around. That's why I'm saying, like, take advantage of the fact that this is the case.
This is going to change the world.
People will say yes to a webcast, to a video conference call, but they're like, wait, I got to fly in, or I got to so physically drive to a place.
This legitimizes a webcast or a conversation, a podcast conversation, a remote thing.
Oh yeah, I mean.
Yeah, did you guys see that meme where the teacher is telling the student, like, being a YouTuber is not a career, and then it shows a picture of the teacher on the teaching the classes, and like that's his career now?
That's right.
They're
basically YouTubers. They all turn into YouTubers essentially.
So it almost like forced the hand of everyone to kind of see it as a new reality, as something that it's not just a weird fringe thing. It's a thing that it's a viable solution to lots of the problems that were there in the first place. The solution was always there. People just didn't want to see it because they were too stuck in the existing structure to venture.
Okay.
But okay,
is it that? Is it that what you just said, or is it just one step closer
to the Matrix?
Yeah. They would want you to think that. AI would want you to think that, like, this solves the problem. Not AI. The algorithms. Exactly.
Yes.
So
that's right.
Does it solve problems, or is it just getting us closer to a world where we're all in a cocoon somewhere, just
virtually connected,
siphoning our energy and virtually connected?
Hey, I haven't gotten that far in the movie. You're ruining it for
me. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler. Darn it.
13 years later or whatever.
That's right. Yeah. Can we have Neo on the podcast?
Can we have the actual Neo or the actor that plays Neo?
Wait, there's a difference? Come on.
No, dude, Keanu Reeves is Neo, man.
Keanu Reeves is Neo.
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
on all accounts, by the way, people say he's the nicest guy.
Yeah, I've heard that.
So, I mean, hit him up.
Yeah, I'll put him on the list. Now I got to figure out how to get in touch with him. So.
Keanu Reeves, if you're watching this, we want you to come to the Jehu Garcia podcast, please. Please, don't make me beg more.
I'd like to see that, actually.
Right? It would be awesome to have some acts. Would he be interesting?
I think
for sure he will. I mean,
I've never seen like interviews or anything with him.
I think he's a bit odd. I think. But I don't know. I guess I think he should be pretty interesting. He's led a pretty interesting life, right? So it just depends if he's willing to share it, right? Because he could be like, "Hey, okay, it's me. I'm just a regular guy," and you're like, "Come on, you're not a regular guy. Tell me some stories. Tell me some stories. The time. What about that movie when you were making? What was going on there?" And he's like, "Oh, it's a movie. You should." He could be that, I guess.
It's possible.
But that's where you have to hone your skills as a.
But he's an actor
to guide the conversation.
He's an actor.
Yeah, like this one. Like this one's kind of. I don't know where it's headed, but
this podcast, this podcast here. Well, we're headed to talk to Trump, obviously. Like, how about Trump? Can we get Trump
Oh, he's.
You know,
I'm booking him right now.
if he
Not for the next 14 days, apparently, right?
if he survives this, by the way, if you're watching this, this is right the next day that he was, I guess he was diagnosed with COVID-19. So he got the
Positive, yeah. He tested positive.
coronavirus, and he is 70 years old, and he's probably not healthy because I don't know, he doesn't seem like he's healthy,
Well,
and
for
he's
McDonald's
overstressed.
and Diet Cokes.
What are you talking about? He's a 70-year-old. He's the president. He's always out there trolling. Like he's does not. He's like he's healthier than most 70-year-olds I've ever seen, man.
He's right now having the most stressful time of his life.
And look at him. He's out there,
and he got
like
this
nothing.
virus, and I don't know if he's going to survive. There's a good chance that he doesn't survive. But then again, he's rich.
If any 70-year-old can, he can.
That's true.
I don't know,
You've
man.
had some really old people, huh, who've survived.
He's
almost 90.
He's old, but that dude's strong, man. I don't know what he's on. He's got to be on some kind of crazy drugs or I don't know what. But
people
the dude is out there all day, every day, just doing his thing, and I don't get it.
grabbing crotches.
How do you do that?
Yeah.
I don't know how he does
Yeah.
it, but
Well, he's on hydrochloroquine, right? That's what the.
Yeah. That's what he said.
whatever he's doing is working.
It's
That's all I'm saying.
Well, it didn't. It's 90%
didn't.
working because it got the virus.
Yeah, it didn't work.
I mean, yeah.
Shield him
Kind
from
of,
the virus.
kind of working. So
It's
See,
so
that's
weird.
because he was always out there and he wasn't covering his mouth. You know?
How?
His nose.
Okay, no, because here's the thing. Supposedly, everybody around him gets tested, like with these tests that they're doing, right? So, how does he get this virus if everybody is healthy around him? Like, they're making sure that nobody's
well, there's also
jeopardized.
people who may have been tested that were false negatives or whatever. So they tested them and then they were actually positive, but the test came out negative, and so then they spread it without knowing that they were asymptomatic or whatever.
By the
Or
way,
they-
do you
they
think,
could have been-
do
okay,
you
sorry.
think someone got fired? You gave me COVID. You're
Oh,
fired.
I think they know who it was, right? I saw that someone.
Oh yeah,
in his
the
cabinet
aide.
tested the aid, and then they're
Yeah.
like, and then obviously they test again, and
Yeah, I mean, how could he's like famous for that line, right? You're fired. So how could he not say it, right?
You're fired.
he should do it on a press conference, live in a press conference. By the way,
You know who it was?
you're fired.
It'll zoom into his face.
Yeah. So
Imagine if that was you, like you gave the president COVID.
if he,
Oh,
yeah.
You probably saw like half of America. You're the hero.
You're a hero, yeah.
and the other half is the villain.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't even know where the nation is, right? I just saw a clip where the one guy says that most of Americans are conservative. This is a mostly American nation, right? And then whatever, the guy that does the last week with what's his name? Whatever. The guy that just screams. He's
Which-
English, and he screams at everything that Americans are doing. The guy that came out of the Jesus, all of his names are
Comedian or what?
Yeah, the comedian one.
The Office guy?
No, the British guy that has a show.
Oh!
Last
You're talking
week
about
with-
Colbert.
No, last week with the British guy. Colbert's American. The other guy that
Ricky
came out
Gervais. No.
of Ricky Gervais doesn't have a show,
Yeah.
and it's not called Last Week.
I know who you're talking about. Last week with I can't think of his name. He
Yes.
came out of the Daily Show.
Yeah,
Alright, let
came
me
out
look
of
it
the
up
Daily
here.
Show.
I cannot, for the life of me, think of that guy's name.
So he was saying, he was like, "What are you
John
talking
Oliver.
about?"
John Oliver.
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 He's like, "This is." Oh, he started throwing a bunch of polls. We're saying that Americans are sided with a bunch of, not like, with a bunch of progressive, laws and stuff. So they're saying like this is not a mostly conservative country. And I'm like, I don't know. Is it? I don't know. How do you tell? I guess you do polls, right? That's the only way you could tell. But I don't
Fake
know.
news.
But
Fake news.
It's weird.
I don't know how you tell.
Do most
even when you
Americans?
do polls, like
Who are you
Is
polling?
that-
Are you only polling conservatives, or are you polling?
Hey,
you know,
That kind of brings me to
who's more likely to take a
to
poll?
answer a poll, to take
Yes.
a poll, conservatives.
No, that brings me to a topic that I think some of the audience has been starting to ask is like which types of topics um, do you want to have on the podcast and which ones not? You know, like for example,
Yeah.
the podcast can be open, right? Like it doesn't have to just be about batteries or
Yeah.
EVs or whatever. Like we had an author, we had two authors so far, or three authors.
Three authors.
Yeah, we've had people in like digital spaces. We've had people who are doing automotive. Um, like, do you want to do stuff in other areas? Which ones? And you know,
Yeah,
what
I
do you
think so. I think, okay, I'll give you an example. My interests are very broad, right? Uh, I never went to school, and I don't know anything about geometry. Geometry until right now has been just a word. What's geometry? I don't know. It just talks about shapes. I'm like, okay, no big deal. Like, no interest in shapes whatsoever, I think. But then I just saw this video by Veritasium. It's a YouTube channel by a guy that does mostly like
Science.
science-y videos. I don't know. I guess he does all kinds. I think I've seen a lot of them that are like having to do with chemistry, but not. But anyways, he did this one on geometry. It's like this shape, this pattern that is random forever. Like you could make these shapes that you can create this pattern and stuff. It's amazing. I mean, it's
like fractals.
it's kind of fractals, but this will never repeat itself. This is completely random forever, as far as they know. And he talks about the whole evolution of how one guy discovered it, and it took like this many pieces. It was like over 100 and some pieces that it would take to make this pattern. And then another guy was able to cut it in half, and then like 50 pieces. And eventually they went down until someone came up with two pieces that you can use to make this pattern that never repeats itself.
Wow.
And you're like, and he goes into depth into this thing. And I'm like, I think I like geometry. This is very fascinating stuff that I never took in school. So I don't
you
know.
realize that's an outlier, right? Like the rest of the topic of geometry doesn't have that thing. There's like that one thing that does that thing that's amazing.
Or it may be better.
What?
Yeah, that's true.
Or it
No,
may
no,
go the
no,
other
no, no.
direction and be
He
better.
goes, by the way, this video is very detailed. And I realize he's very good at telling stories. He's very good at summing up probably boring subjects into a very, attractive thing. And he did an amazing job. But it seems like, okay, like the other dude, Vsauce, right? It's like I'm interested in all these subjects that I absolutely had no idea or no interest before, right? And so I can listen to all these facts and these numbers and the connections that these numbers have and the relationships that they have. Like, I hate math. But yet when he's talking about any of these concepts that he's explaining, then they're amazing, right? Because he's a good storyteller and stuff, right? But I'm like, I wouldn't mind having one of these guys that are good storytellers and they want to talk to me about some fractal thing. I'm like, fractal thing? Who is it? That's boring stuff. Who wants to talk about that? Apparently, I want to because I find it fascinating in the right setting, in the right thing, right? It's so, but with the right person. So
you're
I'm like,
so you're like Smeagol and Gollum, right? One side of you is like, nah, that's boring, and the other side's like, my precious.
No, I just think that I think I'm fascinated by many subjects these days, and I should probably not say like, no, I wouldn't want to have anybody about some, medical thing in here. Like, I don't care about that stuff, but that's not true. I am fascinated by technology in the medical field.
So what you're trying to say is that school failed you, didn't make learning interesting enough for you.
Oh, it totally did. Yeah. I mean, no, I don't know. I don't even know. There's so many aspects. We talked about this the other day. Me and Misa were talking about that, where he had a different experience in school, and I was ruined in a different way than he was.
But either way, we were ruined.
I mean, I don't know. It didn't serve me well, right? Like school, I fell through the cracks, right? It's not 100% their fault. I was kind of an odd duck, I guess, or whatever. But I mean, they didn't know what to do with me, and they didn't really help me too much. But then again, I'm here, I'm fine. So whatever, it happened. Whatever happened, happened. But I would have different set skills had I someone taken more interest in me and figured me out, which is their job, by the way. It's their job to look at kids and try to figure out how to best tailor some kind of education to them, right?
Yeah, learning style and communication style, and information.
I mean, that should be their job, but that isn't their job.
Yeah, I
That
think
is
it
their
is.
job. The counselors are supposed to look at individualized things within a realm of
Misa's all
possibilities, right? That's what counselors do. That's what counselors' job is.
Yeah, I know. I get that. That's what the idea is, but
ideally. Yeah.
but there's the margin is
Small.
so subtle.
You're saying that I was outside of those margins?
Oh,
It's 'cause
I
it
think
goes
so.
back
I mean,
to the
dude,
structure.
not just you. Like, yeah, you're definitely why, but everyone else is too. So they're failing all students
Yeah, it goes back to the
because
structure.
no one. There is no way that there is one system where all those students
I
can
don't
possibly
think
learn
so.
from.
I don't. No, I don't. I don't think they're failing most students. I think most people go
think
to
they're
school and
failing
they
most students.
learn.
I think they're failing
really?
most students.
I don't know. You
Yeah,
think
watch.
so?
Let me tell you why I think so. Number one, because it's overly structured, right? And so what happened?
But
with,
most
with-
people need structure. Like
No,
I
they,
get
they
it.
do. But here's
right?
the context though is
Okay.
the structure. It got stuck in the structure of basically the Industrial Revolution, the turn of the century, where they're training people how to get jobs as opposed to keeping up with technology and saying like, dude, you have an internet connection, you have a computer, you can start your own business with like just selling stuff on Etsy. Like everyone can be an entrepreneur now.
Yeah.
That school is 50 years or more behind the times. It's because
I
it's
don't
so
know,
overly
dude.
structured,
They
bureaucratically.
have
like,
computers now. They have. You can learn to do a lot of stuff that wasn't around when I was in it, right? I mean, of course.
well, it's
that's
catching
20
up.
years
It's
ago.
slowly, but that's the problem with like.
But it's still behind. You're saying.
Well, yeah, because it was originally set up like the U.S. school system was kind of borrowed from, like an old Prussian school system
Yeah.
during the times when you had standing armies, so you needed people to,
But-
learn how to fall in line and be obedient.
They're always going to be behind, right? Because you can't be at the forefront. It's a big system, right? And
Yeah.
so big systems usually take a long time to get going. And to
But that's only
change
because
things,
of the
right?
methods. That's only because of methods they used. Like maybe the methods that were being used to produce that system could only do that at that time. But now that we have, like, for example, personalized technology where you can have something that's specific to you, that doesn't necessarily have to be the case anymore. Potentially.
Yeah. Well, maybe this COVID thing is going to change that because now everybody's learning outside. Although I don't know if this is good or bad for kids. I think socially it's really bad for kids. I don't know if academically they're going to be learning the things that they are. I don't know. There's a lot of different schools of thought here, right? Like, should you play? It's like with me. You played your strengths, or do you focus on your weaknesses? Which strategy is better in life?
Misa?
I think it's a balance of both things. You don't focus on one or the other because then you're out of balance.
I don't know.
I think you learn to understand your your strengths and you use them when it's applicable. But then you obviously look at your weaknesses and understand them, and it'll make you a way more balanced person because then you start to learn what your weaknesses are causing you to be, to have bad habits on.
Yeah, I guess that is one way to look at it. I think there is people that are
Yes,
like,
that's the balanced way of looking at it.
I just,
Anything else is uncivilized.
yeah, I guess.
No,
I'm like,
no.
it's not until it's out of balance.
I guess.
What do you think, Jehu? Do you think?
I don't know. I mean, I believe the balance is it's a very healthy thing, right? Like in anything, you shouldn't go to the extremes. But also, there are things where so let's say that okay, so here's an example of someone that plays on their strengths, right? Like someone that has talented in music, for example, right? And then they're like, screw math, screw English or history or whatever, you're like, we're gonna make this the most talented musician that ever existed, right? And they do that. There's a lot of examples. There's a lot of people that go to the Olympics that are amazing at the thing because they've spent so much time and so much effort into crafting their talent, right? And do the one thing. Now they might suck socially, they might suck, in some other areas, and those people will either be happy or as happy as they can be because they'll feel accomplished, right? Now you could claim that maybe had they focused a little bit more on their weaknesses, they would be a better person, or they would be a better in their life, right? But then they would probably not have been as successful in the one endeavor that they took, because they would have to take some time, some effort, some resources away from the thing that they're trying to do to focus on their weaknesses. Which, by the way, if you focus on your weakness, by virtue of them being your weakness, you will have less success at that, right? Like the level of effort, time, and stuff that you invest in them, to like the returns are smaller when you focus on your weaknesses than when you invest in your strengths, right?
At least the short-term returns, yeah.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Because they can later accelerate the other aspects that later kind of catch you up. But
maybe.
Or potentially not.
A well-rounded person, it's probably best. But the more well-rounded you are, the less you can excel at winning.
At one thing.
Yes. Yeah. So then
Makes sense.
you get rid of the outliers. The Elon Musk. Elon Musk is a weirdo. From you talk to people that know him, he's kind of a weirdo. He's kind of in the spectrum. Like, he's not a normal guy, right? But like, would you take that away from him? Just so that he could be more well-rounded.
But why would we need to? We don't need to do that, though.
Well, because in life you will have to take choices, right? And that's exactly what I'm asking here. What do you do? Do you focus on your weaknesses, or you focus on your strengths?
Why don't you focus on the thing that you're doing, and I focus on the thing that I'm doing, and everyone else focuses on the thing? We don't have to take it away from anyone. And just because that's my whole point about school failing. We're trying to get everyone to do the same thing.
Yeah.
And like, that doesn't work. We shouldn't have one kind of person. We shouldn't have
only
people that focus on being geniuses. And like, we have a ton of geniuses that know how to do like amazing mathematics, but we don't have enough people that are into social things that are good at doing that and communication. And like, no, everyone needs to focus on the thing that they're attracted to and like, do that thing.
So it doesn't fit everyone. It doesn't fit everyone. But you're saying that
the world should not be a whole bunch of, one type of thing. It should be, all of these different variations. That's what makes the world work.
But if let's say you're in charge of making curriculums, of setting up like a school, right? What do you do? Like, don't you focus on helping the most amount of people that you can? Right? And you're like, look, I'm not going to be able to help everyone because there are some weirdos out there. There's some odd ducks, right? There's some people but like, do you drop the whole program just to focus on them? Or do you do the one that helps the most amount of people? The most kids, right? Like, you got all these kids coming into the system, and like, are most of them going to be outliers, or are most of them going to be just people that need to be kind of well-rounded? That know a little bit of everything.
I think, like, we grew up in a place where they, literally try to get us to just do the thing, right? Like, we have all the answers. All you have to do is
follow,
do the things, and
follow
you're
the
done.
Instructions.
Your life is done, literally. Like, we can map it out exactly how it's going to be.
Follow the instructions, you'll be fine.
You can just. And then when you die, you're set.
You're saved.
You did the thing.
Yeah.
Right? You're saved. So you're essentially saying, like, if I was going to come up with one of those things, what would I do? And I think, like, coming from that place, I'm like, well, I wouldn't do that. So I don't think that I would come up with a thing that tells everyone what they should do. I think that I would maybe focus on a different thing, right? Which is, in what I've found that I'm very attracted to, because I think I come from that place, is this other thing. and it's called the Eastern philosophy, right? It's like the way that the other side of the world deals with things. And I'm only attracted to that, I realize, because I grew up this way, you know?
Had you been in there, you might be.
Had I been over there, I'd be like, no, like these guys, they have answers for stuff. You know?
We're over here. It's just do whatever
Because
you feel.
I've talked to Buddhists, right? Like kids that grew up Buddhists that are Christians now. And I'm just like, what? What are you talking about? I'm trying to understand why you guys do this way. And I'm fascinated by the way. It makes perfect sense to me now, looking at it from an outsider's perspective. And they're just like, what are you talking about? Like, this is all like the story, the thing, like tells you like the feelings. Like, it's all there. Like, they literally just give you all of the answers. And they're looking for some of those people coming from that side of it. That is haven. You know what I mean? That is like such a relief. They're like this. They see that as the answer.
It's a classic. The lawn is always greener on the other side.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Yep.
So for me, like, I mean, I'm obviously not seeking for a position to create a curriculum for anybody else. I'm not looking for that.
No. But
so
I'm
I'm
saying,
not going to come up with it.
But theoretically, put yourself in that situation. I'm like,
so if I was going to come up with a thing, I think it would be more focused on getting everyone to understand who they are, what they are, what makes up their.
Therefore, your idea or your perspective that school fails most people. Where I'm like, no, I don't think that's the case. I think most people need that thing, and then just the outliers are the ones that are fall through the cracks. Which was me, probably you, probably Brian over here. You know, we're just
everyone that I've talked to.
But that could be because you hang on the bubble.
I get it.
Of, you know,
we seek out others that
edge.
are like-minded, whether we want to or not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're just attracted to people that are similar to us. So we're going to find those people, and those people are going to complain about the thing that didn't work for them, and it's usually that, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, like I agree with you. It's kind of like I've been, you know, because of Stacy, I've been exposed to the whole like clothing industry and how they function. And I'm like, I never knew anything about that, but like, I mean, I knew enough, just my experience, right? Like, I'm not an average, you know, height or size in any way. And I've never really been able to just buy, you know, clothing off of the hanger that fits me perfectly. Like, you kind of have to get it adjusted, tailored, or whatever, because that's just the way it is. And I'm like, there's got to be someone that they're making this clothes for, right? Like, there's got to be. Like, some people just can buy clothes and then it just fits them. Okay, well, I'm finding out that, like, very minimally there is an average, right? And that's like a very small group of people. But they're making these sizes for like the average, right? But like, there isn't more average people. There is like all of the different, you know, sizes and shapes and dimensions or whatever. And then they take an average off of that, and then they make it for that. So there's like a sliver of people that fits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Everyone else is like in the middle somewhere. Like, I'm between
majority.
a small and a medium.
Yeah.
The average is not the majority. It is a lot of people, but it's a group of people, and it's a sliver of the population.
It's funny because that's like, a similar analogy to the school thing.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, it's the same thing where it's like, it's averaged out, but it doesn't mean that everyone is that average. No. It's just it's administratively more easy. That's not even right English. It's administratively easier to sustain that way of doing things.
It's not sustainable to make all of the sizes for all the different shapes and sizes, you know? You can't do that as a company. Like, I understand that side of it. In the industry, you're like, well, I mean, we can really focus on the averages, make a whole bunch of batches that do that and cater to those people, and people will just find what kind of fits them. And then, like, they'll have to wear it that way. And more, as, like, this industry has progressed, it's gotten worse and worse because we stopped tailoring things and we started making stuff with stretchy things, with stretchy fabrics that die out, that like die out really quickly. Like, they last a couple years, a year, and they're like, they lose their elasticity. And now it doesn't, that's, you know, like you have to throw it away and buy a new one, you know, and that actually serves the other purpose, which is,
Making money.
making more profit.
Yeah.
So like the understanding that industry helps me understand all these other things that are happening with like education and all of these other, I mean, every industry is pretty much made that way, or every other aspect of our life is made that way. We're always trying to simplify things and make it easier for the way that we distribute ideas, and concepts or products or whatever it is that you think about, but it's not tailor fit to us, to what we need specifically, because we're all dramatically different. And if you like, so understanding it in the industry of clothing, I think helped me understand it in all these other places as well. Because you're like, oh yeah, that's the way it is. Like everyone buys stuff and it doesn't really fit them, but just because it has enough stretch here and there, like it kind of works. I'm good. Most people are walking around with stuff that is ill-fitting, And then we look at television, right? Movies, and all that stuff is absolutely custom made to fit to a T, to the size and like height and width of that actor.
Yeah.
And we look at that and it's like, wow, how come they just look so amazing? Well, yeah, if you get your stuff fitted that way, then it would fit that way for you too.
Yeah, that's
and
an
you
interesting.
kind of understand that because you got into that for a little bit.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say that's a good point, because it's like everything's made for the average, which is there is no average, right?
Does it exist?
Yeah, but
Or it's not any bigger than any other off average.
exactly. But you get good PR to then say that this is the standard, and then you make everyone conform to the standard, and that's kind of how a lot of these. Again, it's kind of like the way traditional structures in the world tend to work.
Yeah.
As,
And like I've been around the clothing industry more than I realized because of Saul's friends, right? Like they're models and they're literally like in that industry. They sell clothes, and I'm like, I've been around all the photo shoots, and dude, like none of this stuff fits them. Like none of this stuff fits them off the rack. Like when we do these photo shoots, like every single thing is altered for the photo shoot to fit perfectly, And like these are like the model averages that we are looking at, that people are consuming, that people are all angry at, and like, dude, all of that stuff is touched up in Photoshop. It's like there's clamps in the back, to like make things fit the right way, and then when they turn around, we clamp it on the other side. Like that stuff didn't look that way. It never fit that way.
So fake, man.
It's
and that's a whole
it's fake news.
And that's a whole other like complaint that people have.
Yeah.
And they're fighting the wrong fight too. Like they're fighting this whole like image, that they're selling this like unrealistic
Expectations.
whatever. Like
Yeah.
that's the wrong battle. Like they're just they're not really understanding what the fight is. And whatever. That's another topic. But it gets into like, we can get into like Black Lives Matter and like all those battles. They're all fighting a thing they don't quite even understand. They haven't even thought about it long enough to understand what the problem is first, and then be like, oh, okay, then this is what we should be attacking.
Yeah.
If there is even an attack that should be had,
Yeah.
So anyway, a lot of the things that a lot of like the problems that we seem to be going through, it's like it comes from not really understanding our situation, where we're at,
Yeah.
why we're doing that, why our patterns are those, because we're all like blaming a group of people, and it's like it's not really that.
That's funny, because that's an interesting thing when so now it's kind of going back and forth from totally custom things to like completely structured things, right? Is when I talk to people about strategy, right? Because I'm trained as a brand strategist, but I do like other stuff. One of the things I like to talk about is people sometimes like to give the illustration of like, oh, the way you reach success, like success is here, right? Here's the map, and there's success. That's where you got to reach. But it's like, okay, like that information may be useful, but if success is here, but you don't know where you're at, then you don't know which way to travel.
Right.
And I use that illustration when, talking to people about like strategy and brand, because it's kind of similar. Like you have to know where you're at and who you are and what you're trying to do, if that's possible, for that map to even make any sense. Because if you
sense,
because if the goal is here and you're going this way, you're either not going to get there, or it's going to take impossibly forever to get there, because you're going to have to round the earth and come back the other
So
side.
that's exactly the same thing that I'm seeing. Like with all of these problems that we seem to be facing, right? Like socially, it's like people don't understand where they are, and they don't understand where they're trying to go, but they know that they got to fight somehow to get there.
Yeah. And that's
And
an
they're just
interesting
focused
thing.
on the fighting part.
Yeah, they see the map that says this is success somehow, but like,
I don't
let's
even
make
think
another
that
noise.
they agree. I don't even think as a whole, as a collective, a group that's fighting a cause, agrees on what success is or what the goal is.
Yeah,
That's why you have all these movements that don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Because there is no direction that they all agree on, because they haven't even talked amongst themselves or understood these causes themselves.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know how we got into that.
I think I get it. I think I get it. We don't know where this podcast is. We don't know what it's heading.
Yes.
So
We might as well just
I
end
see
it
the
here.
problem there. We might as well.
Thanks for joining us. This is the last time you'll see us. And
I think we're going to pull the plug here.
Did you mean the podcast as a whole, or did you mean
This episode.
Because let's get on the same page.
that's for you to decide.
I think both.
Oh, okay.
We'll have people vote. It's like, do you want this to be are you tired of listening to us? Tell us in the comments.
That's funny. Yeah. So, anyways, yes, we could. I don't know. I think you guys might be right. I don't know. The problem is that we don't know. We like to think that we know things based on simple little tiny bits of information that we get, right? That might be completely biased, and then we're like, yes, this is how it is. Man, these BLM people, they're terrible. No, these are great people. They're fighting the freedom. These dumb Americans are whatever. It's like, but no one ever, at least not enough. No one ever stops to think we don't know, because we're here. I'm here every day in, day out. I come in here and I experience very little. Just everything comes through this phone or the computer or social media, right? And it's highly biased. We know this. And somehow we based our beliefs and our opinions based on this super flawed information that is coming to us there. It's pretty crazy. So I think at the very least, you should be more open to the fact that you don't know what you're talking about. That should be a thing that should be very present, everyone, right?
Yeah, there's a quote by Socrates, right? That says, "All I know is that I know nothing." And that's I think it's a healthy, humble opinion that we could all benefit from. Thinking.
Yeah.
Definitely. The other thing I think that we should be open to is hearing the other side. Whatever side you think you're on, go and listen to the people that are on the other side.
Yeah.
It's called dialogue.
That to me is literally, should I dare say, salvation. I seriously think that is the answer. The answer to all of the problems. And that's an exaggeration, of course, because that's just lumping into everything. But it's I think for me it was literally growing up in this Christian-based home and environment. I feel like the only way for me to understand where I was at was by going outside of that and looking at literally what we would consider what the opposite of that would be. Yeah. And, maybe it's not the opposite, but for me, it was far, far away from where I was at,
Yeah.
And that's why Eastern philosophy was that for me. It was looking at things the way the other side of the world was looking at things and being okay, well, this is normal over here. That's literally average, that perspective. And it's really different. But when you really start getting to what the teachings are, what the results are, it's not any different, really. It's they're all trying to achieve the same thing, They're trying to improve themselves. They're trying to, head towards a better direction, and understand ourselves. They're trying to improve, essentially what we said. They're trying to understand where we're at and where we're going and how to get there. So That's what humans are doing as a whole, like
Yeah.
globally. That's what animals are doing, as a whole. That's what plants have been doing. That's
Yeah.
what the universe seems to be doing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we tend to be like the kind where like, no, if we are gonna embrace a philosophy or thing, it's like all or nothing. And people have this all or nothing mentality, right?
Yeah,
And it's
tribalism.
like, right? It's like all or nothing. You're with us or against us. I'm like, how about no? How about we're just coexisting and we're like,
But look, like Brian just said it, like it's tribalism.
yeah,
Like, and like it makes sense. Like we have been doing that for longer. Humanity as a whole has been doing that for longer than it has not been doing that. Right? Like for a long time, in order for us to survive, we need to find our tribe. We need to be accepted by our tribe. We need to live together in a community because we're safer in numbers, right? So like it was a necessity. It is a necessity. Even us now, when you were talking about that podcast with the groups, there's just a group. It's literally like a group of people that get together and like talk about cars and electric cars, and they're enthusiastic about this topic, and they're trying to grow and strengthen the numbers, because the more people that are doing it, well, then the bigger the group is and the
Support
stronger
group.
the cause is. Yeah, so like that's all they're doing. That's tribalism. There's nothing wrong with that, except for the fact that like, well, now we're trying to like understand things from a different perspective.
yeah,
And like, well, we need to like learn to, okay, there's value to this thing. There's value to be living in communities.
Mm-hmm.
There's value to like having other people around you that think similarly, that like can help you when you're down, when you're struggling, when you need help, when you need, support, when you need whatever. But in order for us to understand the bigger problems, you need to understand the other groups too. You need to understand
the
what
other
the other
side.
people are doing, especially when
Yeah.
we're getting to where it's either us or them, like, okay,
yeah,
that's a really bad place, and that's where we're at right now.
Yeah, that's the interesting part about the word, just the word dialogue, right? Is literally like dialogos in the Greek. It's like, it's referring to the logos is the word, and the dia as like almost like opposite directions, right? It's an exchange between these two different opinions, and when you have a breakdown of dialogue, then that's when you start to see this this tribalism that centers around, me versus, it's antagonistic basically,
Yeah.
as opposed to constructive. And this it just seems to have been a lot of lack of dialogue lately, and that's maybe for a different podcast. But I think it's nice to have
Trump.
this kind of dialogue.
Trump. I like to troll people, by the way. I'm not,
or maybe that was a
Nowadays-
Freudian slip.
no.
Nowadays,
I'm not.
you'd have to-
I'm not politically active, but I love to push people's buttons online, and either rally for Trump. Actually, you know what is weird, because I don't do that for the other side. I don't go Pelosi, or Biden, or whatever the other guy.
Maybe
is.
it just doesn't have the ring to it,
Yeah.
Too many syllables.
Although you could rile the people. Well, no, you can. I think you can rile more people up by siding with Trump than you do with the other side. That means
like
conservatives
no
are
one,
not.
if you side with one, no one's really like, they're not hating on you for it. Not really.
conservatives.
And but if you say something like, "Oh my God," if people even get like a hint that you're supporting Trump, what?
yeah. It's
Oh my
weird.
God!
It's
Yeah.
weird.
But only because we're in
weird.
LA, dude, and we are. I mean, like we're in this. Like if you were somewhere
super
in middle
progressive.
America, you would have everyone supporting you, and that would not be a big deal,
Yeah. We are in our
and
bubbles.
And yeah,
this California
and like that's
bubble.
the thing. That's the thing with the internet, right? It's the same thing as communities. Like we have created these echo chambers socially, digitally.
I think that's true, but I used to not accept people into my Facebook group or my Facebook page or whatever, friend, only if I knew them, right? For the longest time. And let me tell you, it was the most boring social media platform in the world, right? And then because I have the videos and people, exposed to a lot of people, I mean, there was thousands of people that were asking to friend me on Facebook. And I'm like, no, why do I want to friend some guy in Russia or some guy? I have absolutely nothing in common with this person. They're not my friend, so why would I friend them, right? But then eventually one day I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to friend everyone.
Even the bots.
And so I'm like, everyone, people in Russia, people in Australia. And as it turns out now, my thing, it's so addictive because I get to see perspectives from all over the world, from all kinds of other people. Like, there's so many conservatives that are following me that whenever I say things, I express my opinions, everybody's like angry at me. They're like, I can't believe, and they unfriend me. They, you know what I mean? Like that whole thing, right? But I think it's helped me to be exposed to other people with other perspectives, And I used to be like, oh, these are the devil. These people are, these are the bad people, And now I'm like, oh, no, they're just people that have different opinions. I think it's helped me to, change a bit in the positive way. But I think social media, they could either do one or the other. I think if you don't use it correctly, right? So you could either create a bubble that's only, echo chamber.
Yeah.
Or you could kind of get to see,
Yeah. The logos.
Well, the thing is that I don't know, man. I agree that you can make it whatever you make it, but naturally, I think it automatically puts you in an echo chamber.
Yeah.
I mean, they're doing it so much so that
algorithms
if you set up a proxy, right, where you can connect to New York, like New York connection, and you're like on Google, and you're on Google, and
It's
you
different.
search the same thing, right?
It's serving different.
It's gonna be different based on the area that you go
Yes.
to, that you're in.
Yes.
And like people are doing tests, like I have a proxy that I have set up, and I can go and connect from a different place, and I'm like, oh wow, like yeah, you get different results. Not only do you get different results, but you know how you start typing and it starts finishing the sentence for you?
Yeah, autofill.
The autofill, the autofill search, like even those are different
Yeah.
by region. So like those are not like that you have control over, that you're picking those,
These computers, man, they're trying to manipulate.
It's these algorithms.
the computers.
It's the algorithms. And literally people think about AI and they're like, what AI, whatever, like AI is not going to, like, or we're a long way from, like, it's been happening for a really long time.
Yep. Yeah.
Like literally algorithms are AI. Like it's not that it's some evil entity outside of us that's like coming up with a plan to do it. No, it's us. Like it's all of the information that we're feeding these databases is creating like all of this, like algorithms that create how we interact with the information. So like we are doing it, we are teaching it, we are like creating all of these things. I'm sure there's some manipulation happening though, like there is advertising money that's going into like altering certain things but I mean, that doesn't mean it's outside of us. It's us. It's like companies are doing it, are a part of it. People are a big part of it too. Like they're training these algorithms to go a certain way. So like AI is already deeply embedded in our lifestyles, all of us, so it's already here. It's been happening for a long time. And people don't seem to get it. They don't seem to understand. Just because they don't get the technology, they don't understand it.
Yeah.
They think like, no, what do you mean? No, because I have an Echo. No, it's not really. Like they think that's like it's gonna come in some kind of robot form or something like.
Yeah. With me, I think most people want to join me and be my friend because I talk about batteries and electric cars, but not knowing that we are completely different in every other aspect of our lives, right? Like so.
Yeah.
So I think that's the interesting part. And I used to unfriend people that I didn't like their perspectives, but I stopped doing that, for a while now. And I'm like, oh no, this is just the guy that gets angry every time I express my point of view, and this is the guy kind of annoys me when he expresses his. But I'm like, there's no reason. Like it's just a person, right? Like,
Unless it's a bot. Unless it's an AI bot.
Unless it's a bot. There you go. I might be fooled. Maybe half my friends.
Maybe not half, but a percentage.
Yeah, they were like 2/3.
Yeah. Well, we don't know. That's the thing. That
Yeah.
we really don't know who these people are. They're just names in the screen.
Yeah. Okay, so I can feel this wrapping up. What's in
Okay.
the future? What's in the future? You could already feel the energy. What's in the future for the podcast? All right, this is another 30
Yes.
minutes right here. Let's go.
The future, I think we.
No. Where are you at, and where are you headed?
Where are you headed? Exactly.
Good one.
Exactly. I have no idea
He's
where
like,
we
I wasn't
are
paying attention.
or we're not heading. No, so this is a project, right, that I wanted to start, and because it's kind of an investment. I want to do this. I realize that I enjoy these long form conversations, right? By people. Not many. I mean, mostly just Rogan and Tested. I like the Star Talk. That's like highly kind of like talking about the astronomy and stuff. Those are pretty good. And I'm like, I wanna do that, And the older I'm getting, the more when you get older, you start talking. That's your pastime. What do? You just talk. I know for you kids that if any kids are watching this thing, you're like, what? Old people are boring. They just want to talk. But it's true. People, you tend to just share ideas and explore things. If you're open-minded, if you're this old person that is closed-minded, like many are, then you just want to talk about the same things over and over again, right? With people that think like you. But some people, I don't want to be that. I want to be someone that's open to new ideas and other perspectives and stuff. And so I'm like, this is a great way to do it. And so, yeah, that's why I wanted to start it. I wanted to talk less about batteries and electric cars, too.
What? Oh,
because
we forgot to tell me you can't say that.
8 years, man. That's a long time to be talking about that. And that's all I am to a lot of people, right? And whenever I'm like, no, I talk about all the other stuff all the time. And you're like, no, you don't. Get out of here. Shut up. Stop doing that. Stop doing that. That's not you. You are this person. Who
Not to me. You're more than a battery to me.
Yeah.
We're going back to the Matrix again.
Not when the Matrix.
Yeah. In the Matrix, you're literally a battery, right? No, but I wanted to just have an outlet to talk to other people about other things. It could be anything. I don't have no problem talking about batteries, by the way. But if it goes to something like this, I don't care. This is interesting stuff that we talk all the time. And by the way, we were doing these conversations all the time, and it's just like, why don't we just throw a camera in there, and then it would be probably an interesting thing to someone else. If we find them interesting, maybe someone else will find them. And I think right now I'm at the right time in my life where I can take a chance, where I could take a gamble and be like, because by the way, this doesn't come cheap. This is not just a thing that you do, right? Because this is time, and time is money, and then it requires equipment, and it requires we're all busy doing things, and so that means you have to carve out some time out of our day to think about this and to do this and to schedule, right? I mean, how many hours have you put in scheduling guests and stuff, right? It's been quite a bit.
Thousands.
2,000.
Maybe like 2.
Just kidding.
2.5.
Just kidding.
Yes.
That's just today. I mean,
Hey, I just bought an email list with like the million people. I just sent it out.
Yeah, this is not
Just
easy.
kidding.
Starting this, you're like, why doesn't everybody just start a podcast? But by the way, everybody is starting a podcast.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
And some
You
people
gotta
said
invest.
like, no, I don't want to be on it. Like actually, very few people actually. But I did have one person say, I'll tell you later who it is. Actually, you'll be surprised.
Oh.
Yeah, you're gonna
really?
be surprised. I don't want to say it on air. But someone
Okay.
said, nah, that's not our audience. We're not interested. I was-
No way.
Yeah, and
It's
when
not
I
our
tell you
audience.
who it is, you're gonna be like, what? Anyways, this is not about drama, but I was actually really surprised.
Drama. Tell me. No.
But we haven't had any. It's been a lot of work, but a lot of like support, a lot of positivity, people excited. I haven't been getting a whole lot of like, oh yeah, like Jehu is like, oh my gosh, like I'm the biggest. No, none of that stuff. It's more like I want to share ideas. with him. I want to talk about
Yeah.
interesting things.
It's more like, oh, that guy. No.
No, because now we're starting to reach outside of our circles, right?
Yeah. And
So
it's
I'm a nobody to some of these people. Like, who's that guy? What does he do? I don't care. So it becomes tougher because I'm not this guy or something that they look up to or whatever, or they know even maybe about. But yeah, how do we entice those people?
No, well, that's the thing is it's like, for example, when I reach out to a guest or a potential guest, I really just kind of want to find out if they're interested in having conversations, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it's just similar to
You
what we
like
talked
talking.
about
Is that
dialogue.
how you start?
No, obviously there's a business side, right, where some people are would benefit from some promotion, or
Trying to
they
push
benefit
something.
from getting an idea out there. That's naturally people have to feed their families and keep
And
their
it's
businesses
hard right
running.
now because we have not much to offer in that department right now, right? Because these are not getting a lot of views in our channel because these are not battery related, and all my audience is waiting for battery stuff, right?
Yeah,
So-
but there is an element of like, because even though, like, for example, if you compare like view numbers or whatever, it's not like spectacular view numbers. They're pretty decent from what I thought we were going to get initially. But I think one of the benefits is that in a sense you're like a thought leader in a certain area. Again, your ideas people value. And I think that's a large part of the value is that people can have a conversation with a thought leader, right? With someone who has an audience that people that value, your opinion on things. And so that's been a lot of the response that I've been getting is, I think we'd like to have a conversation with this guy. I sent him an intro, like if you don't know who Jehu is, then
Yeah.
obviously you're under a rock somewhere. Here's here's the Vice documentary. Here's some other stuff. Here's the world record stuff. Like there's been a lot of stuff done.
Yes.
But people are just not always aware. So
Yeah. Well, yeah. So yeah, hopefully our aim is to get more exciting and interesting conversations, right? And so attracting interesting people, interesting guests, and hopefully I'll keep getting better at having these conversations. I don't know. We should put a poll to see if I'm terrible or if I'm okay or if I'm extremely good. I don't know.
the answer might surprise you.
Where are my skills, my conversing skills? Because I think I suck at it. I think I can get across, my points of views, but I get stuck with words, the technical side of things, right? I'm not eloquent, right? Like some people could just whip out a bunch of words and put sentences together in structures that get the ideas flowing and stuff. But I kind of stumble the whole way around it. So whatever, it is what it is. I might get better, right? Because practice, with practice you get better at it. So.
Yeah.
And it's a thing that I want to do. So, I'm not good at making videos, right? I don't know how to make videos when I start doing this thing, but you just do it so much that eventually you're like, oh, okay, here's the thing. Maybe it's not traditional way of making videos, but it's a thing that people somehow appreciate. You don't get, I don't know, how many, I think it's like 40 million views now on my channel or 50 million. I think I'm reaching like 50
something like
million.
that. Yeah.
So you don't get 50 million views. I guess you could by putting dumb stuff on there. I don't know. No, I don't think so. I think you'd
That's
have
literally
to have
what
something.
YouTube is.
Those cats. Hey, the cat videos, they are very well executed. There's something very interesting about those. That's
They're
why
a
I get those
metaphor for
millions.
something that's lurking deep inside of you.
Although you're right, because sometimes you're like, I put so much work into this thing, got 50,000 views, and then you get some stupid video that no thought, no point to it or whatever, and it gets more than that, and you're like, what am I doing? I'm doing the wrong thing. So, anyways, these are not getting a lot of views right now, but I think eventually they will. I think eventually we'll find our audience that enjoys these long form conversations and we hopefully will have some good subjects, and yeah, we're gonna keep doing it. And if not, whatever, we did it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think so.
Just go out there and
I think-
make stuff, guys.
I think just keep it fun.
Yeah.
As long as you're having fun with it,
It's not. Yeah,
do it. you
I'm
know.
not stressing over about it. This is just happening, right? And
Yeah.
right now, I can make it happen. I have the resources. We have this place that we just got. We got this equipment that we can get our hands on, and eventually, I can afford to, pay some money for the time invested in here. But eventually, I think our goal is to kind of get it where it pays for itself, and then
Yeah.
after
Makes it
that,
possible.
then
Yeah.
it's-
That's a good goal to have.
yes.
Just get it fully funded.
Get it fully funded so it doesn't cost me out of pocket, right?
Yeah.
Although, to tell the truth, we kind of need some expenses around here.
Well, we could upgrade some things. So if there's any sponsors, potential
Sponsors.
out there,
Your sponsors, the coldest water.
yeah.
Oh yeah, what is that?
Yes.
Would you like to say something
nothing.
about your sponsor?
Nothing.
Oh, you drank it all? Look at that. That's how much you
Drank
love
it all.
it.
Yes. So we have our first sponsor. This company got on board to sponsor our podcast. The only
Hey,
one.
by the way, for your sponsor, there's more of us. We're having to drink it out of our own.
Oh
I know.
yeah, what's up with that? Why did you only send us
And
one?
I have this
cold
one.
water.
So
Oh, that's not right.
yeah, killing the environment
That
over here.
that is not right.
It's
you
okay.
need to have it insulated. A fancy insulated.
I'll find something to build with this so it doesn't
Fine,
go to waste.
I'll just drink my slightly warm water.
Instead of this. Yeah. So, anyways, if you're looking for sponsored and put your thing in there, don't go with us because no one's watching. No.
Oh man.
No, get us. Contact Brian here. He's really good. He'll give you good prices, right?
Call me at 555.
Have a good time. Yes. Get the most for your dollar. That should be the number. Yeah, we should get that. Is anybody doing videos? I mean, talking on the phone now. When was the last time you guys saw a phone booth? By the way, let's end with this.
I saw one last week.
Oh,
It wasn't real though.
a
It's a
fake
prop.
It was like in the middle of a parking lot near a planter, and it was a British style phone booth. the
Oh,
red
so
ones.
it's fake. No,
Yeah.
like a real one with the phone in it.
Oh,
You remember the last time?
it's been
It was
a
a
while.
while ago. I remember
Yeah.
seeing one, like not that long ago. Like obviously they're out of service now,
Yeah.
But I remember seeing one. I forgot where it was.
Do they even have the ones in the freeway now?
No,
The
I
call
don't think so.
box?
The call boxes?
Do they?
I think those are gone too, right?
That's true. I haven't
I
seen
don't
those
know.
in a long
Like
time.
what? They went around taking them out.
Yeah, I think so. Eventually, they just
Well,
didn't
they-
replace them, and then they took
They
them
went around
down.
taking out the mailboxes. Why not? Yeah.
They did. What mailbox?
Okay.
The,
never
the
mind.
blue
That's it.
ones.
The blue ones.
They took those off
They
too
Yeah.
They took them off.
Anyway,
before
that's-
the elections, or
Yes.
yes.
what? Oh, I didn't know.
Oh my God, where you been?
What do you think people are making such a big
Under
deal
a
about
rock.
it?
Where you been?
He's been
What-
working. That's what he's been doing. He's been
What
making
people?
content.
What people are making a big deal about it? I've
They.
never heard of that.
Oh
They.
man, Americans are up. Well, some people.
We're going back to another 30 minutes, guys. Let's go.
No. Okay, yeah. Anyways, we don't know anything. This is what people are saying that is happening. Is it happening? I don't know. I haven't been out there. I've been cooked up inside. So, anyways, if you're watching this podcast, I want to thank you because this is a crazy one. I don't know what you're doing here because we're just spitting nonsense. But podcast,
The best one we're talking about.
the podcast should be getting good, better. Hopefully, that's our aim. We're gonna get interesting guests, and yeah, we're gonna be here talking about hopefully interesting ideas and concepts and perspectives.
Oh yeah, and if anyone, if you watching, if you want anyone to be on the podcast, put it in the comments.
Oh yeah,
So then we can reach out to them. Help us to reach out to them, or maybe recommend the podcast to someone that you know, and then that way they can reach out to us.
Yes, there we go. We want
Suggestions.
recommendations, suggestions, and ideas. Do we want them to give us ideas for topics?
Yeah. Let's get. Well,
Bam!
Yeah, let's do that. Put them down in the comments. Whoever has the best topic,
There we go.
they're gonna win
And-
something. Okay, I'm compromising Jehu. They're gonna get a
No.
truckload of batteries.
Well, I do have a lot of batteries that I need to give away because I just don't. They don't fit in any other thing. We need to streamline the process because it becomes a major thing for me. Like I don't have time to do it, right? And so now I'm like, oh, I want to give this away. It's in the way here. Like I literally don't need it. Someone values it out there, but I'm like, then I have to spend time processing the winner. And I'm like, so that's what stops me. So we need to streamline that process too so that we can get it.
We could do that.
Yeah, like put a form so I don't have to. That's the other thing that bugs me is when I give something away and then I say, just send me an email. It's a simple thing. Send me an email. And then it doesn't happen. And then I feel like, these people don't even appreciate what I'm giving. They don't even send me an email. And then I'm like, and then they come back months later and like, I sent you an email. I didn't get it. Get out of here. Then I get angry with them and stuff. No, that doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure
All
it out.
right. Let's shut this down. It's late. Let's go get something to eat. And then whatever, the next episode is going to be good. Whoever it is.
Yes.
Oh, this one was good. What are you talking about?
No, I'm saying that the next one's also going to be good.
Okay.
No,
I
don't
thought you
scare-
said
don't
as
scare
opposed to
people.
The
this
next
one.
episode.
Don't
that
scare
we
people because they're
upload.
like, if this is good, then oh man.
No, I was going to say the next episode that we're going to upload, but I'm like, by the time they see this, well, I guess it's in sequence. It is. No, it's not in sequence, so never mind. That's
No,
what I
yeah,
said.
they've been in sequence so far, I think, right?
No, but by the time this drops, the next episode's not going to be
Unnecessary.
slap. We'll see you guys on the next episode. It's going to be good. Bye.
Wait.